Hey everyone, in this video we're going to talk about how to do stroboscopic flash photography. So stroboscopic flash photography is something I've always wanted to try, and recently Neewer sent me their Z2 Pro flash. So I thought it was an excellent opportunity to try out this type of photography. And they make this for different camera models, Canon, Sony, etc. But obviously I've got the Z7, so I've got the Nikon model. And basically, stroboscopic photography is a technique where you have a long exposure, so you set the camera to maybe 1 or 2 seconds, and you let that run in a dark environment, so it'll not see any light other than what the flash throws out. And with stroboscopic photography, the flash is going to fire a number of times quite quickly in succession. And every time it flashes, it will illuminate the scene, and that'll record one moment while you've got the shutter open. So hopefully we can record some movement and we'll get a kind of multiple exposure effect. Okay, so I've got the Neewer Z2 Pro mounted on the Z7, Nikon Z7. I'm using the Neewer Z 50mm 1.8 lens. I'm sat in a box here with a black cloth over it, and just behind me I've got a black backdrop as well, but this is quite creased, as you'll notice. I haven't ironed this. I would recommend that if you're doing this yourself, you iron yours. I'm going to cheat and remove these creases in post-processing later. But this should work best when we've got a lot of contrast. So we've got a black background and a white ping pong ball. Let's have a look at the back of the Z2 Pro here. At the moment it's set to ITTL mode. So this is not stroboscopic. It is very handy. The flash will meter the scene automatically and then automatically decide how much flash power output is required to light that scene. So really useful. We've also got a manual mode where you can just set all the settings yourself manually. And then we've got RPT, which I think stands for repeat, and that is the stroboscopic mode. So with different manufacturers it might be called something else, like multi-mode, but here it's RPT. And basically we've got 3 parameters that we're going to be playing around with. We've got the power output, which is the big number, so we've got 1/256, which is the minimum setting. This will go all the way up to 1/4, so that's the most powerful output mode with the stroboscopic setting. Then we've got times, which is this number here, and we've got hertz, which is here. So hertz is the frequency, it's how fast it's going to flash basically. So we need to play around with these settings. So we need it to flash a number of times. So let's say 10. So it's going to flash 10 times. And at the moment that's at a speed of 1 hertz. But we want that to be a little bit faster, so we're going to make that 5. So now when I start recording, that's going to flash 10 times at 5 hertz. And the way we work out how long we're going to set the shutter speed for is by dividing the number of times by the hertz. So 10 divided by 5, in this case, is going to be 2. So I would set the Z7 to a shutter speed of 2 seconds. And then I would hit the shutter release button, and that's going to flash, like I said, 10 times. But I think that's going to be a bit too slow. So what we're going to have to do is put the hertz up to something fairly high, so maybe 30, and then the times, well, we could have it set to 60. I think 40 might be the maximum. So there we would have to set the shutter speed to 1/1.3. If we set the times to 30, then we're going to have a shutter speed of 1 second. And it is important to note that we can't put the power output up higher than 1/128 now. So I think if we go to 1, or we can go to 1/64, but then when we go to 1/32, you see the times change to 16. And then if we go to 1/16, it's gone down to 8. So that's because it can't throw out that much power in that number of shots. So you just have to play around with this so that you've got the right amount of ambient light balanced against the power output, the number of times, and the hertz. But because we're throwing the ping pong ball fairly fast, we do need a fairly high number of times and a fairly high number of hertz. So I'm going to start with 30 times 30 hertz. If that's too slow, I might bump it up a little bit, maybe to 40 times 40 hertz. And what I'm going to do today, I'm going to get Andrea, who's just off camera, to throw this ping pong ball onto the table that's just down here, and it's going to bounce, and we're going to record that movement, and the flash is going to fire, like I said, a number of times. Each time it flashes, it's going to record that ball as it flies through the air. So that's the theory. I am a beginner at this, so hopefully if I can do it, you can too. So let's dive in and see if we can do it. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so I'm reasonably pleased with the results that I got. Like I said, this is the first time I've tried stroboscopic photography, and I was quite pleased with how the results came out in the end. I did find the Z2 Pro really easy to use. It took me about an hour to play around with the settings, so changing the power output, the number of times the flash is kicking off, and the hertz. But once I got those settings dialed in, I did quite consistently get the ball coming in and get that movement throughout the images. Can't fault the Z2 Pro, it worked really well, like I said, really easy to use. So thanks to Neewer for sending me that. And I will just quickly go through some of the other features. The power is advertised as 76 watt, it's got a 2.4G wireless system. You can use it as a trigger for other flashes and strobes that use the Q system, or also with Godox X system. So if you've got a Godox trigger, it'll work with that as well. You can get the flash to match the focal length that you're using, I think between 28 and 105mm. So that'll work out how much light, or the area of light, that it's going to throw out onto your subject based on the focal length that you're using. You can use it in TTL mode, like I said earlier, so that will intelligently work out your scene, work out the flash power output that you need. It's got the manual mode to set all the settings yourself, or the multi-mode that we've used today. It'll do between 1/256 and 1/4 power output, and on the website of Neewer it does say that it'll do 100 times flash at full power. However, with my own experiments I've found that I couldn't quite get that, so it'll do 100 times at, I think, 1/128, 5 hertz. But then if I try to put the power output up higher than that, then it does automatically change the number of times. So I'm not sure if that's a misprint on the website, or it's something to do with my model, or I'm just not understanding it right, but that was my experience. It's also got a high speed sync mode, so that means if you're using a very high shutter speed or a very fast shutter speed, say you're outdoors and you're doing a portrait, you want a bit of fill light for that, then it will match, so the speed of the flash will match your shutter speed, say 1/8,000th of a second. So that's really useful, like I said, for outdoor stuff. It's got dual modelling lights, it comes with a stand so you can use it off of the camera. It's really good, like I said, really easy to use, and I'll be using this going forward. So if you want to check it out for yourself, I'll put some links in the description below, go check it out. But that's about it for this video, so huge thank you for watching. If you found it useful or you've liked the video in any way, please just give me a thumbs up down below. If you're a regular viewer or subscriber, massive thank you to you. But if you're not and you want to subscribe, you can just click down there on the big red button, or over here on this little picture of me. That way you can keep up to date with everything I'm doing. There are usually videos on Sunday mornings at 10 AM UK time. So I hope you can join me for the next one. But until then, thanks a lot everyone, and bye for now.